Hey, welcome to That Chronicles, where veterans, this is a place where you can go to talk and listen to about issues that are of interest to all of us. That is veterans. My name is Rick Prescott.
And I'm Mike Ruffner, United States Marine Corps.
My name is Jason Hertha, United States Marine Corps as well. And if you want to check us out on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, the like button, and the bell notification so you get future videos and all that good stuff. Helps out the algorithm. Check us out on Apple, Twitch, Twitter, Spotify. And we want to thank our producers, 216 The Net, behind the camera, Drew C. Drew
Cappuccino Castasio.
And we want to welcome Victor Somosa. He's with the Veterans Assistance Commission.
Can you do that?
United States Marine Corps. No, you wanted to be in the Marine Corps.
No. That's completely false.
We're trying to find the clapping loop here or whatever.
So yeah, let's set the record straight. It was Army, U.S. Army. Thanks for having me, though, guys.
Ain't ready to be a Marine yet.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was kind of a last minute thing. We're looking for people and all that stuff, and I was like, all right, well, maybe Victor wants to come on there, so I gave you a call, and you were up for the not challenge, but come on the show and all that stuff. So,
and I'm not trying to be cool, by the way, with the sunglasses.
No,
I got an abrasion in my eyes, so the light sensitivity.
It was pink eye. Someone farted on his pants. No, I'm totally kidding.
He's really trying to be undercover in more ways than one.
Which
sec? Witness protection, you're not supposed to recognize.
There you go. That's what it is.
Hitman for hire sort of thing.
Oh man. Hey man, welcome aboard. Glad to have you here at That Chronicles. We the purpose about this whole thing is so that we can talk about things that veterans might be interested in. Like we talk about VA, we talk about the VA loans and several other things. We've had people here in honor of certain dates, and we have people talking about blue flags and red flag items and things, a whole bunch of issues regarding the history of our military in the United States and how to honor our veterans and so forth. Having you here, it just adds to that, which is awesome.
Wow.
Really. So thank you for being here, buddy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm a little bit familiar with your guys' podcast. We call it the Marine Corps Show.
Really?
Yeah, man. But you guys have a whole bunch of great guests in here.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So thanks for considering VAC.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's start to stir in the pot as we begin. Because you work for the Veterans Assistance Commission that mainly focuses on claims and other supportive services in the area. So, who's the biggest offenders of not getting their claims? Is it the Vietnam veterans, or is it current veterans, or what trend do you normally see?
Yeah,
who's the biggest offenders that don't get off the tail end to get the claims that they rate?
That's a great question, and it's a combination of both. Though I see a lot of Vietnam veterans come into our office because when they came back from Vietnam, they were ridiculed and shunned, and just it wasn't a good scene. Now veterans are celebrated. Thank God, things have changed. But back then, those Vietnam veterans went straight to work, raising a family. So they didn't even bother with the VA. VA wasn't recognizing any presumptive conditions to the Agent Orange at that time. So now that they're retiring, a lot of this stuff is coming back. So we're seeing an influx of Vietnam veterans coming in and learning about the PACT Act. So it's good. Veterans today, I feel like they have not an upper hand, but there's classes like TAPS and it used to be ACAP TAPS, and there's this upward bound program where the VA now partners with local veterans in the community to become peer certified. That way, the VA can refer some of these transitioning service members to them. It requires training through the VA. It's about a 4-hour course. But I took that. A partner of mine, not partner, but he works for Veterans Path to Hope. Josh and I enrolled in that course. So we're both receiving emails of veterans that are coming into our area. I have received some emails from veterans in DeKalb and other areas, O'Fallon, Illinois, but we're allowed to respond to the veterans that we are able to take. So I'm focusing on McHenry, Lake, Kane. That way, even though I may not be able to help them, I can refer them to our VAC in Lake County or VAC in Kane County. So, but yeah, we're those veterans that are leaving today have other resources to file these claims. What I would like to see, though, is more VSOs attending these ACAPs or TAPs or whatever branch of service it is, attending those classes for get like an hour gap where we can come and talk about what services, not just on the federal level, but on the state level, how we serve the community, you know, from the VAC standpoint. So,
you know, from the listener's point of view, what I'm thinking about is, you know, we know what the VAC is, okay, because we're associated to it, we're connected to it in one way or the other. But a lot of our listeners may not know what the VAC even stands for. Can you describe what is the VAC? What do you guys do?
Yeah, the Veterans Assistance Commission in McHenry County was, I guess, enacted through the Military Veterans Assistance Act. That is legislation in Illinois that allowed each county, as long as it met some requirements, like it had to have veteran service organizations, 15 members or more, at least 2, but they can establish a VAC. Not every county in Illinois has a VAC, but we're working on that through the IAC VAC. We're trying to reach those counties. That way, those areas, those remote areas, can have services down in the southern Illinois region. But here, the Military Veterans Assistance Act is again legislation that clearly states that we're supposed to provide as a VAC just and necessary services and assistance to veterans and their families. So we have to create programs along with claims advocacy. We have to we offer financial assistance services, caregiver relief services, transportation services, and it's all for veterans and their families, but there are some requirements that you have to meet. For instance, financial assistance, you have to be honorably or general discharge, and then you have to meet other maybe financial factors. We follow the public aid code in Illinois.
Well, to turn around help the listeners, not everyone's from Illinois. This is a program that's specific to Illinois, but if your state doesn't have one, you may get with the veteran service organizations and go to your state legislature to create this arm of helping veterans. Each state has a Department of Veterans Affairs. From my experience working with Illinois, some are good and some ain't worth a crap. and the thing is, you know, and that's a big deal. You know, they can get the veterans disenfranchised. So everybody that you're asking questions, you can turn around and email Victor, and he can kind of point you in that direction. But this is specific to Illinois, so we want to make sure everybody knew that.
And then Mike Ruffner used to be the chairman of the VAC, I understand. Is that right? The commission?
20 years ago.
20 years ago. Yeah.
2 years ago.
I remember going to those, or after I get done with the VAC, because that's where I first obviously met you at, and then I'd go over to Mike's office over there where you were doing the
Veterans
unemployment. Yeah, so it's like I got nothing to do. I'll just bother this guy for a while and stuff. So
Nice.
Well, you know, Mike, you just mentioned something very interesting that I can kind of relate to, and just a little personal type of thing. Recently, I had one of my siblings, my brother, passed away, and he lives in Missouri. So what I found out is that, hey, he didn't really work on the issue of what if I pass away? What kind of benefits are there to carry on after I'm gone for my spouse? And so we went, oh, you know what? And so I'm looking for a VAC in Missouri. Nothing.
Wow.
So what we did was we managed to get in contact with the appropriate parties. I wasn't going to accept no for an answer. You don't have something is available. Well, I find out that there was a really good reputation from one individual who's a VSO. So we connected to that. They're still working on issues. He passed away back in October, but they're still working on issues. But the ball is rolling, and it's rolling really, really well. And we have an awesome VSO down there representing the family and so forth. So the key is we don't have a VAC in other states, but there are other resources out there. Look for that, VSOs, and you can find that through. Hey, you know what? If you can't find it through the VA, if they don't know, then look around for other veterans organizations, because that's what we did. Yeah. We found a veterans organization in Parago, Arkansas, that said, oh, we know right where to send you guys to help and so on. So veterans organizations such as ours, like the Marine Corps League, the VFW, things like that, those are great resources to be able to find that type of information if you need it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, you know, when I got out, like, you know, kind of backtrack, or actually I'm going to talk about right now for a hot minute there. When I talked to my guys that I'm still connected to on Facebook and all that, I'm like, have you got your claim in or any type of stuff? And I'm like, you know, go out and try to find, you know, a veteran service officer. Don't try to do it on your own, because I hear a lot of times, yeah, I'm just doing it on my own. Like, no, you know, develop a game plan with a service officer or Department of Veteran Affairs if they're, you know, worth a crap in your area and all that. But there's always some form of resource going on, because, you know, as militants, you know, we got to do it all on our own. Like, no, don't.
Well,
Absolutely.
The biggest problem is, you know, everything we get from anything with the government, you got a lawyer that wrote the damn crap up. And the lawyer is like a politician. They talk out both sides of the mouth and you don't understand what the hell they're saying.
And it both stinks.
And that's why you need a veteran service officer that can look at it, already understand what they're really trying to say. Because if you think you know what they're saying, you're probably wrong.
Yeah, we get a lot of that. We got a lot of veterans coming in who've done their own claim and then hear about services that are offered in their community for claims assistance. And then so they come to our office. It's not too late. We can still help them. As long as it's within a certain time period, we can probably even keep the same effective date of when that veteran first filed it. But yeah, it's awesome that they're coming in. They're hearing from veterans like you that they need to work with an accredited service officer. It's very important,
right? Yeah,
accredited,
because
there are claim sharks out
add
there.
To that,
yeah,
there are lots and lots of businesses out there. I can name a few, but I won't, you know, because I don't want to get into that rabbit hole. But there are lots and lots of businesses out there that encourage veterans. Hey, you come to us and we know what to do. We can represent you and blah, blah, blah. All they do is help them fill out the paperwork.
They coach.
And then they coach. But the veteran does all of this. And when there's controversy or technicalities, they don't assist at all. But if you do get in and you get your claim, like the easiest one is tinnitus, for example.
Tinnitus, tinnitus.
You get that.
What?
And yeah, exactly. So the next thing you know, they take like 2 months or 4 months of your initial pay. That's how they get paid.
Yeah.
And I'm going, wait a minute, whoa, stop, whoa, back up, back paddle, get in contact with an accredited veterans committee like yourself, or commission rather, also a VSO. Get in touch with someone that's accredited through the VA. That doesn't cost you anything.
Exactly. Absolutely. I always encourage veterans. Ultimately, you're going to make the choice that you're going to make. If you want the easy route, I call it the easy route, then go through that coach or that person that you're going to pay all this money to, but exhaust your free services first. Maybe you might like the work that we do, and 9 times out of 10 they stay with us. And I think they do that because we're an office of veterans serving veterans, so we've been there. We have women veterans, we have Marine Corps veterans even. So
eating crayons over there. So
we even got a sailor.
We got a sailor, yeah.
What does that mean? Do we even have Marine Corps veterans?
I mean, you guys do a good job. You guys do a great job. That's what I'm trying to say.
A bunch of crayon shavings everywhere.
For our listeners, Victor's here because he has a good reputation in our area. And the thing is, when you're out there and you're talking to somebody, it's like finding the right car dealer to buy the right car. And there's some good ones and there's some crappy ones. And if you feel like somebody's just kind of stroking you, move on and get another one. You know, just keep looking, because find somebody that you can connect with that's going to follow through. If they ain't worth the crap, kick them to the curb. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I can attest from my own experience. You know, using Victor's services definitely helped me out dramatically with when it came to getting the disability and all that stuff too. So definitely spot on there. I'll put you on the spot there for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, kind of backtracking a little bit, you know, talking about TAPS and the time when I was getting out, 2008, you know, we didn't know the buzzword, you know, PTSD was just coming out, you know, that whole buzzword. So it's like, what is it? I don't got that crap or whatever. And then, you know, the classes were like 2 weeks. I remember they sat us in one of the auditoriums or something, or no, not auditorium. I'm confusing boot camp and shit. But anyway, it was like two-week class.
It's all the same.
Yeah, it's all the same shit. 2-week class of, you know, stuff that I wasn't even really paying attention to, because I was like, oh my God, I'm actually getting out. This is great.
Yeah, I just wanted to get out. That's stuff to do too.
And I'm sitting in the chair hung over from like going to the bar every day and stuff with my buddy and shit that were EASing at the same time. which a lot of fun, but but I wish I would have paid attention a little more. But they should have some form of like either, I don't know, mental health worker going in there and be like, hey, you need to calm down just for a little bit and start bringing that whole PTSD thing to the forefront, or at least planting the seeds. But luckily, when I got out, I was told to go to the Department of Veteran Affairs and, started planting the seeds and all that stuff. It took me quite a while to finally get on the ball and whatnot. But, now that there are these organizations that are open with the information of what's going on, PTSD, get your disability rating. Don't feel bad about getting it, because, I hear from some other guys all the time. It's like, well, if I get this, rating, it's going to take away from somebody else that probably needs it more than I. It's like, no, it's not. They have a lot of funding, so don't even worry about it. So don't feel guilty whatsoever.
Yeah,
and
you serve too.
Right,
Everybody's experience is different.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you don't have to feel ashamed for getting help, because there's no way that you can do this on your own. And if you think you can, rather it be, getting disability benefits or getting yourself pointed to the right direction for mental health, which, I went to the VA inpatient or residential treatment, I should say, for PTSD. I knew something was wrong, time to do it. It was a great experience, learned a bunch of tools that I can use in my everyday life. Yeah. So, I mean, the VAC definitely pointed me in the right direction, and organizations like that, where it's, a central hub for information of resources. And
That's
all
good.
that. So,
yeah. And a lot of veterans need that. They need that kind of like a one-stop shop.
Yes, absolutely.
I remember when I was transitioning from Fort Hood to being medically retired, it was a scary time.
Oh,
and that 2-week class that you're mentioning, you just wanted to get out. You weren't worried about it. You were just crossing the lines and crossing the T's. And even aftercare with VA, you mentioned that you were going to all those appointments. I remember those because they would send me to the OIF, OEF guy, but those were in different departments. I feel like veterans need that one-stop shop. Right. So I'm happy like the AVA, the shameless plug, American Veterans Alliance, you guys are building. I'm looking forward to that building. That way we can, start forming this one-stop shop and have veterans. That's one thing I don't want to say I dislike about my job, but one of the drawbacks is we do offer referral services, but I hate doing those code handoffs where I give the veteran that paper referral to go follow through with other like VPH, for example. I needed him to go to their VCAT services for. But if we were all kind of underneath one roof, I feel like.
Well, I concur with what you're saying, because as a veterans employment rep, my job was to help the veteran get ready for a job. And then I'm supposed to hand him off to who's got the contacts with employers. Well, both of the people in my area weren't worth a crap, and I had better success getting them a job than they did. And all they want to do is, Victor comes up and he's all job ready. They get him and they want to put him in McDonald's. Get the hell out of here! You didn't go to combat and millions of dollars the equipment to flip a hamburger. Yeah. Get him a job that's going to make some great money.
Yeah, we're doing some renovations in our office, and we're going to include a resource room. We're going to have some computers in there, so we're hoping veterans will use that space for, some sort of. We'll probably have like a resume coach or something. Oh, yeah, like
that's
that.
Speaking of that, if I might, if I can add to that, I'm sorry. My personal experience, there was a point where I was unemployed for a little while here, and I utilized Mike's services. There was a fellow in there that helped me put together a resume. It took me about 2 weeks to do this, but he was coaching me. I was doing the work, but he was coaching me on how to do this and the methodology and everything else. When this resume was done, I went, wow. Because at that point, by the time I visited him, I had put out, I bet you 100 resumes. And what do? Circle file it. In the garbage it went. Never got a call. Yeah. But after I got his resume, and I never put a resume out that I did not get a call back to go get an interview. I was stunned at that. The power of that resume, the way that he assisted me in putting that together, that is the benefit right there.
Yeah, it's a huge
for
service.
A veteran to go to a service such as yours, and the whatever his name is, Dan
Jarvie.
incredible. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I was getting interviews now, and he prepared me, helped me to, in my mind, you already have the skill sets to do this yourself because you're in the military, you're a veteran, you know how to do this, but you don't know how to look for a job. That's the thing. But now he just coached me into that. And 2 weeks later, I was completely prepared. And when I went to an interview, I had these little bitty sticker notes and things like this. Don't forget to use that term, you know, and how to put this organization together. Now I was prepared and I was getting a job. I had no problem at all.
You need somebody that speaks that language, that knows how to, you know, interpret your infantry service or your mechanic service and service.
Right.
Yeah, and how to
to be able to talk about what your skill sets are and to transfer those skill sets into something meaningful to an employer.
Yeah.
You know, and hey, I'm worthy. You know, I am good at what I do. But I go in and I just, hey, I'm pretty good at what I do. I can shoot a guy in the head at 500 yards. You know, set it up. Yeah, that works.
Be like,
but,
yes, sir. Thanks, but you're gonna have to.
Well, you know, the biggest thing is the translation part. I consider my job as a veterans employment rep is I translate the veteran and I translate for the employer.
Right.
You know, I had one guy that I had talked to, and he worked for Kraft. And when I turn around, for example, I used to manufacturing. I think said, well, do you ever think of, you know, Great Lakes right there? Do you ever think of going to the Navy? And they kind of look at me and they kind of give me that goofy look.
What?
I says, what do you think they're doing? They're on a ship. It's a floating city, and they have to do it all. I don't care. You could be an electronics tech, or you could be, you know, a wrench puller. You still have to do everybody else's job because if they got, you know, they're in high seas and they're in a fire or they're taking on water. Guess what? It's all hands on deck to get things going.
Right.
This guy from Kraft, once he got it, the only ones he wanted to hire were submarines. It cost him Kraft, I think he said like $400 an hour when the assembly line goes down. He wants somebody that's in a submarine because they'll get that crap done quick. Because if you have a problem with a submarine, you got to get it done quick. Otherwise, you're going to lose the boat. And you know, when you're, you know, several hundred feet under the water.
Yeah, you need somebody who knows how to.
And the other translation was, you know, when, you know, the trucking industry, they're like, we can't get any, you know, maintenance people and everything else. I said, do you ever think of, you know, tanks and heavy equipment people? I says, you know, they have diesel engines. Guess what your truck is? Diesel. What's the difference? He's already got that learning curve because it's diesel. But one of the things I want to see in the future when you became the superintendent,
Right.
the Veterans Employment and Training Service with Department of Labor, especially with Illinois, they lost a bunch of vet reps. They I think they've blown it on their grant that they get, so they reduce how much money they get in. But they provided a training where you all should, on the government's DLD's or not the Department of Labor's dime, they'll fly you someplace for training on how to get people job ready and how to work with employers and things of that sort.
Yeah, I know Mike Waneke and I, my superintendent, have had that conversation of adding employment, a veteran employment guy specific that could serve that area for veterans in our community. So training like that would be essential.
And you get several people that's in there. It's like you worked with them, get their claim. Now their claim's ready. Now you turn around and make sure that they're job ready. And then the next step is because you out there talking to employers.
Absolutely.
Say, hey, I got this guy. I got a lady that I talked to, Christine Ballman. She's with Aptar. And most people are like, what's Aptar? Aptar makes those little pumps for health and beauty products. And when back in 2008, when Obama was president and the economy went to crap, you think those women were giving up their health and beauty products during that time? No, they were still full steams ahead. And I could call her up and say, I got a vet that will fit, and they'll put them in. It's a plastic industry.
Wow. Yeah.
And so you get that reputation, you make a phone call and you get somebody in. They hired quite a few vets. As a matter of fact, they had a West Point guy that was one of the plant managers.
That's perfect.
But it's one of those things is your next step, and not just one person, because you want to have a couple people, because then you could trade off on experience.
Absolutely. How many veterans in McHenry County? Last 13, 14,000?
Yeah.
So we're right now we have, that's what I hear. That's what Mike Waneke says, that we're losing veterans.
Used to be 22,000.
When, how long ago was that?
When I was the chairman.
Wow.
About 20 years ago.
And now we're at 14.
They didn't die either. I'm telling you, they didn't die.
They're moving out, but I mean, that's another conversation. I guess
I wouldn't blame myself. Florida or Texas?
Well, see, Texas has a similar program to what we have at VAC. It's Texas Veterans Commission, TVC.
Yeah.
And that what they did was they kind of hijacked the veterans program from their unemployment down in Texas years ago. And it's all ran by veterans and everything else, but they took it away from the politicians.
Hmm.
You know, and that's the problem we have in Illinois is that, you know, they want, I always think complaining when I talk to the politicians, especially for the state, I says, you're only supporting veterans in name only. You got all these great programs here, but you don't really want to go out of your way to help veterans as well as we should be.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, talking about the VAC, Veterans Assistance Commission, give us a general idea, a broad range role that the VAC does for veterans in the McHenry County area.
Provide services for sure. Like I said, we have those. A part of the claim service. One thing that we're focusing on right now is our veterans wellness program, and veteran suicide. The numbers just came out, and they're rising. They're not looking good.
Seriously?
Right?
Yikes.
Absolutely.
Rising.
Yeah. Rising. We need VA has programs like the SAVE program, and they are doing something. But what are we doing? That's on a federal level. What are we doing in our community? So
That's where it matters most too.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
right.
Veterans Path to Hope has peer support services. They have a Wednesday group night dinner, and those seem to be effective. It gets veterans out, but we're trying to find ways to support programs like that. So we created the Veterans Wellness Program to help combat the suicide epidemic in veterans.
You know,
So-
years ago, I turned around and had a conversation with a representative of the coroner's office, and McHenry County in 2013 had 34 suicides. 22 of them were veterans.
Wow.
And my first question
Is
back
that for the year?
for the year,
Okay.
and I went back to her and I says, "How many were unemployed at the time they committed suicide?" And they didn't know because they don't track it. And you know, the thing is, a veteran doesn't want to be a drain on anybody. You know, like some of the Vietnam vets that were committing suicide, is they turn around and they got out and they kind of put that PTSD in the back of their head.
Yeah.
And
Went to work.
And then the kids are grown and they're gone and start their own life. And it's just the guy and the wife. And then he loses his job. So his whole world is crumbling apart. And he pulls the trigger or whatever he's doing, drugs or whatever. Everyone, when I go to these mental health things at the VA, they always talk about, well, the gun's the problem. No, the gun's not the problem.
Yeah. I
The
mean, they
gun
want
is-
to point that.
The gun is only something to make sure if they do it right, because it's click, bang, done. Slicing and taking drugs and all this other stuff, it's the body will fight that. But
yeah.
there's many things, but they always want to blame something else instead of what the problem is. And Congressman Bergman up in Watersmeet, probably 8 years ago, tried to get legislation where when the Department of Defense releases somebody, that their information will be handed off to the veteran service organizations in the areas where they're at. Here's the thing, is that we have 102 counties, and what do you got? About 40 of them that are VACs up.
52, I think.
And then you only have about 50 or 60 IDVA veteran service officers throughout the state. But you have about 90,000, 67,000 VFW, and somewhere between 90 to 100,000 American Legion. Then you got AMVETS, Marine Corps League, and all these other veterans groups. The thing is, the VA cannot touch every veteran that gets home. And you, in your job, cannot touch every veteran that comes into the county because the numbers are just too overwhelming.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, is that if we got all the veterans, we got 17, 18 veterans organizations still in existence in Illinois or in McHenry,
Mhm.
is have them reach out, and if each one of them reached out to 100 vets, look at how quickly you
Exactly.
making contact, and that's giving them where they're at. Hey, you okay?
Yeah.
Just checking in
Yeah.
on you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
we would do that every now and then too.
For our own people.
Yeah,
No,
when
we've done that. We've done it
Oh
with our
yeah,
own people.
yeah. Do
Yeah.
go right to the door, buddy checks, call them up, all that good stuff. I remember when I got out of Lovell, it was like back when 2020 first kicked off. We were doing that stuff or whatever. So, but when the mental health thing is very important, especially clearly veteran suicide. And, as of right now, I go to the McHenry CBOC for, I think it's a social worker or something, or, someone that I talk about my problems to and all that stuff. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to be clear, honest with you. It's like a lot of the stuff that's going on now isn't really due to combat PTSD. It's about how to go through life in general. And, because the way I look at least from my personal experience, those years that when I went into the Marine Corps, those are crucial for like, developing relationships and how people do stuff or whatever. I get out, I'm like, what the fuck's all this shit? It's all Chinese stuff to me or whatever. And, I had a hard time catching up with all that stuff. So, I talk about, real world stuff with, I guess I'll call it my therapist, real world stuff with my therapist. I mean, put myself on the spot. We're talking about the 5 love languages and all that. So like, I can have proper connections with people and all that and understand where, they're coming from, instead of it just, me at the center of the universe. And this is how I speak. So I assume that's how everyone else talks and thinks and feels and all that stuff too. Cause, military wise, everything's black or white, and that's done for a purpose. So there's room for less failure when you're on the combat zone. In the real world, there's a million different shades of gray. Yeah, it's complex, all that stuff. It's icky and murky and all that. But, everyone has their own little universe on how they think the world is and all that. So, some universes I don't agree with people and stuff. Others maybe. But that's okay. And, the less that I try to, kind of figure out why people do stupid stuff, it's better because it puts me at peace. Like, well, that's them. But, regardless, talking to people about like, I've never been married or anything like that, but like if they got marital issues, go to the VA and talk to them about that, real world stuff that's actually bothering, not just waking up and, thinking about a combat zone over and, that's perfectly okay. But like, don't just talk about that. Talk about everything that's going on in your life.
Exactly. Yeah.
To get good stuff going.
Well, one thing I understand at the VAC, you guys are involved in a broad range of stuff like outdoor activities, gaming even, and also education.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's the Veterans Wellness Program. So there's 3 different areas of the Veterans Wellness Program. We have an education, an outdoor, and a socialization part of it.
Beautiful.
So the education, we try to put on maybe like seminars about mental health to learn about. We just had the mental health first aid people come out here and train the community, whoever signed up for it, on mental health first aid. It was an 8-hour course.
Right.
We provided lunch, and they learned how to assist veterans who may be experiencing a mental crisis. They learned how to respond.
Referral type of agent.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, that's fantastic.
And then we also had that same outfit come out and then train not just veterans, but other people had signed. I think we had 18 enrollments into that. They are now trained to kind of like train the trainer. So now they can, in order to keep certification, they have to have a certain amount of trainings per year, and that's in the works. So with the socialization part of it, we focus on the veteran that may be isolated or kind of, doesn't like that kind of, not just human interaction, but kind of likes to keep to themselves. So we're trying to reach that veteran. We focus on socialization events. So we're trying to come up with ways to get together. We've done part of the socialization. We now, I guess, kind of help or host the veterans Wednesday night group dinners at Veterans Path to Hope on once a month there. And yesterday was actually, I think, Papa Severio's. We had they had for Wednesday night group dinner. The VAC hosted that, and Italian beefs and camaraderie. That's really what it's for. It's to get veterans out of their homes, and just for veterans. I have brought up the idea of maybe opening up the nights that the VAC hosts to veterans and their families. That way we can involve, spouses and children and kind of get everyone under the same roof.
Right.
So we'll see.
What about the outdoor stuff?
Yeah, the outdoor stuff is still in the works. We're right now, we've done with Habitat for Humanity. Yeah. We volunteered to go out there, kind of build. It was some veterans program. But we're focusing more on outdoors events like camping trips, maybe fishing trips. So we're hoping to partner with Veterans Path to Hope Outdoors to kind of do and support that program.
Right.
You know,
Is there ice fishing?
there may be. I know that VPH
here we
Outdoors.
go.
That's right.
Did
At Brick
that.
Sale,
Here
where
we
they're
go.
ice fishing.
All right.
I think we lost.
I know
the
right
ice.
where he's going. I know right where he's going. Lat,
I won't say anything.
I'm just going to tell everybody I fell through the ice last year.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So
So I
that's
take
why
it you
I'm on
didn't
a
go.
diet. I've already lost 15 pounds.
One
Stop
hand,
that.
two-handed claps.
And I'm probably about 40 yards or so from the shore. And guess what happens? All of a sudden I hear this crack. I was like, what's going on here? And all of a sudden I find myself up neck deep in water. And
Wow. Oh, it was neck deep? I thought it was like knee or something like that.
No, it was all the way
you
up.
fell
It
right
was
in?
out right up to my chest, right
Oh my
here.
God.
That's
And I
Oh,
went-
he must have been in Grass Lake because it's only about that deep.
No, I was livid. I was livid because here I am, got my fishing tackle and my rod and reels and stuff like this, and all of a sudden I'm kicking the water and I'm kicking ice out of the way, and I had to break my way through all the way up to the
Did
shoreline.
anybody help you?
Oh, they're all looking at me, and one guy's putting his stuff in his trunk of his car about 100 yards away. And he's
Probably like,
like,
oh, he's fine.
And the other guy's going, "Are you okay? You okay?" I said, "Just shut up, leave me
Yeah,
alone."
that's
And
why.
I'm freezing to death. My feet, my boots are filling with water, and I was livid. I
It's
was
like
just
Godzilla,
livid.
like crushing through the ice. You know, goes through the city.
Yeah.
Recently, I turned around and come across 3 or 4 other veterans that actually do some type of hunting events that they do. And it's like, how about you guys all? Let me corral you in. Of course, there's a fishing thing on the Chain of Lakes. A lot of people don't know that, but there's a group to get together and they get all the people that got boats and they get together and they go out there and fish. And at least those fish you can actually keep, unlike Crystal Lake where
Yeah,
you have catch
exactly.
and release.
Well, one thing we were talking to Josh
Yeah.
recently. You just mentioned him shortly ago, and he tells me he's got some experience in putting together like a mud run.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going, okay, all
That
right,
sounds
let's
fun.
talk. Let's
Yeah.
talk, because now I'm thinking about like utilizing the resources of the Marine Corps League, perhaps even the AVA, in putting together a mud run as a fundraiser. And that, of course, the proceeds would go 100% toward veterans needs and so forth. But we're actually talking about organizing. I've never done one before,
Wow.
but he has, so we can exercise that resource. Do you guys at the VAC, do you have the experience in assisting and being able to direct something like this?
No, not any mud runs or anything like that. For fundraising
Right.
events, our VAC Inc. mostly does their fundraising. I think
Okay.
right now they did the I forgot what it's called. The
5K.
No, well, the 5K, yeah. That where the VAC Inc. receives proceeds from that along with Veterans Path to Hope. But there was a not the Queen of Hearts, but it was the that raffle ticket that we used to do.
Oh yeah.
It escapes my
Right.
mind right now.
Right.
Oh,
But
the
yeah.
monthly drawing.
Yeah. But I don't know if we really generated any funds from that. I mean,
Well, that's because the only one that knows about it is the people that go to the VAC meeting.
I go to the VAC meeting.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that a lot of those representatives don't go back and pass the word to their host.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Like the ticket sales or whatnot.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right.
but fundraising events, I mean, there's plenty. I know I've approached the VAC Inc. of doing maybe a poker event. Poker, I'm a huge poker player. I learned in Iraq. I was Dustin
You're wearing the
Dunkel.
shades for it too. So
There you go. But
He was
poker,
lost because they could read.
there's this charitable poker that assists 501c3s and 501c15s, and it
Really?
would bring
Wow.
poker to the community. So maybe that I'll try to revisit that this year.
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
It does. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know Ken Collin was my reach person over at Chicago
See,
Charitable
these
Games.
might be a few of those things that might be attractive, like mud runs, 5Ks or 10Ks or whatever. Those are the type of activities that I believe that will bring in the younger crowd.
Yeah.
Because the younger groups, they have a tendency of believing that like these veterans organizations are just composed of a bunch of old guys, you know, like, and when they walk in the door, they see Mike, and they
they run.
you know,
Look
it's-
good.
you know, but then they look at me, you know, this young and spry. They
Yeah.
said, okay, well, why stay?
No, but you're right. That's a good point. Veterans
Look
need
at
to
the
step
dark side.
up.
He wants to kill me right now. He wants to choke me to death.
Jump over the table.
I'm glad he's like 8 feet away.
He'll just go right through the table, not over it.
No, but the point of the matter is when you have these type of activities, that will be something that'll bring in a younger crowd because they're going to be, even if they don't join the organization itself, they could come out and support this because, hey man, I'm not finished jogging yet. Or that mud run, that sounds like a lot of fun. My brother did that at age 60 and he did like a 5K mud run and it was amazing, like 3 miles. And it was just, and I saw the photographs and he's just as proud as can be with all the mud from head to foot and this and that. And the different activities they had or the obstacles they had along the way and everything else. It was pretty darn good.
Wow.
So, but how do you do that? How do you get this thing going?
Years ago, when Jeff was a commandant, we actually toyed around with doing a land nav competition.
Wow, oh, that's awesome.
And we actually reached out to, I want to say Channel Lake State Park over there off of Wilmot Road there.
Yeah.
And they gave me a bunch of maps and stuff. And of course, dealing with Jeff, right? And they go, but the thing is, between the one, we were contacted by the sergeant from the conservation district. He wanted to do stuff with veterans. That was supposed to happen this past year. And I don't know if he changed jobs, whatever. But he was talking about hunting and fishing type things in the conservation district. But if you turn around and look at it, those are the resources we would have for all these different events. Because if we get in with the conservation district, they got the property. Now, how do we want to use them? In springtime and be fishing. Fall time it might be some type of a small game hunting or something.
Right.
Because they gotta thin the herd, but also because they have trails, and then you can turn around and set up a circuit course type thing like a mud run.
Right. Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And at Channel Lakes, that's a huge park. And even what's the one out here? I want to say Marengo.
Veterans Acres.
Moraine Hills.
Moraine Hills. That's Moraine Hills out here. I
walk
walk that all the time, and I did a like a 6.5 mile bike ride through there. It's not easy. There's hills, and work at that.
In the wintertime, that's where I would take Sheila to learn how to cross country ski. Was Chain Lake State Park. I started out. You can use a train system, the old abandoned tracks between Richmond all the way down to McHenry.
Right.
And of course, her prize was to get down Rusty Nail, and I'll buy her lunch and a cocktail, and then we had to ski back. But when she got better, we went to get the hills over at State Park.
Well, I did that 2 years ago. I did. I got into bike riding. I have a nice bike, and I took off from Jewel Osco here in McHenry, went over to Richmond, and then back. And I came back, and it was a total of 15 miles. I did a 15-mile bike ride that day. And it's a great trail. The trail is perfect for what you want to do.
It's easier coming back, wasn't it?
It was harder coming back than what it was going out.
Yeah,
because it seemed a little bit more uphill coming back. There were some long uphill stretches particularly when you got over by the park area there. So that was awesome.
Glacier Park.
Yeah, Glacier Park, and it just seemed like a little bit uphill going through, and it was a hard work getting back. And you're already tired. You're saying, okay, I need to head back. And when you're coming back and all of a sudden you're going uphill, you're going, okay, this is a workout. But it was good. It was a good workout.
Yeah, I remember when I was probably 16 or something like that, me and my buddies found this trail that started over at Veterans Acres.
Yeah.
And then it went all the way to like Richmond and all that stuff. So it's probably the same thing that you're talking about.
Right.
So I was like, oh man, it was so fun, but then on the way back, it's like getting dark. And I'm like, wow, this isn't fun anymore because it was a long ass trail.
Right.
And we're like all the way up in Richmond from Crystal Lake back. I'm like, I just want to get home.
Well, you know what? We're talking about the VAC. How can people find you online? What's your URL?
McHenryCountyIL.gov/VAC.
McHenryCountyIL.gov/VAC. There it is.
Just Google VAC McHenry County.
Yeah.
You can definitely reach us. The best way to get in contact with us would be just to call us 815-334-4229 and schedule an appointment. It's going to be an intake appointment. So Tara,
what's that number again? Slower.
815-334-4229.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I was going to say, just ask for Mike Iwaniki.
You can do that. We'll just forward all costs to Mike and one.
Yeah, he needs the pressure. He needs that.
Absolutely. Let's do
Mike
it.
keeps talking about retiring. We get done with that, he'll want to retire.
Yes. No, he's a good dude. So yeah, just get on the calendar, and then we'll definitely take care of you. And if we can't find the answer, because there's a lot that we don't know, and we get to go to trainings throughout the year to surround ourselves with people that kind of are experts in those fields. We get to learn from them. So if we don't know the answer, we'll find it for you. We'll refer you. We'll work on this with you until it gets done. It may not be a favorable decision all the time, but there's definitely more positives with working with a VSO than there is without. Why do it alone? So,
right. Awesome. Now, do you guys also assist with, like these hire claims? You see these internet lawyers, you see them on TV, every other commercial.
Yeah.
Like things like the Camp Lejeune poison water kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Go see this lawyer, blah blah blah. I recently sent out an email in response to something like that. I went, hey, why would you do that when you have something like the VAC or something like a VSO? Why would you do that? Or spend all your money on a lawyer. They're just money grabbing this billions of dollars worth of stuff. Why not do that? Just go to this.
There's a little bit of difference because, like my son, he had Hodgkin's, and he's got a claim. He wasn't in the military. I have a recourse through the VA system, but the VA system is to get the VA percentage of claim. That other stuff is above what the VA puts out.
Okay.
It's actual cash. He's like Josh, and his cancer thing that he had in '99 was $250,000 out of my wife's company's pocket for his cancer treatment. So it's with mine, I didn't have any cancer. So, and everyone keeps telling me file a claim. It's like, why? I don't have anything that they're listing. So what am I proving? Other than I spent almost my whole career at Camp Lejeune.
Right. Wow. Okay. All right. So would the VAC be a good resource to deal with those type of issues?
Absolutely.
If you're a veteran and you're seeking some kind of knowledge, come to you.
Every one of our officers, service officers, handles veterans from start to finish, even to the Board of Veterans Appeals if we need to go. The goal is not to go that far, but sometimes, like Mike Ruffner said, there's stuff that has to go. It has to go in front of a veterans law judge because we've exhausted all our efforts here at the regional office level. But yes, we'll stick with you from start to finish. So
it's awesome to have a resource such as yours in this area, because you're in the northeastern part of the state of Illinois, which encompasses really the Chicago suburb region. And so McHenry County being a good sized county, how many veterans do we have in our county? How many?
14,065 2020 census.
Well, that's amazing. That's so an awesome resource to have for that veteran community. That's in place.
There's other things too that we haven't even touched on. Is that the Veterans Assistance Military Act also allows for emergency assistance type things for veterans that meet the requirements for emergency housing, like maybe paying the rent, utilities, car repair, minor stuff to get them back up and running.
Absolutely.
So if they have a crisis moment in their lives, unemployment or whatever, then they have a place to go that can help them through over that hump.
And we work with VPH, we work with the VA, absolutely, to offer this assistance.
Wow.
They know the other resources that, a lot of people don't notice. If there's a fire, Red Cross will put them up in a hotel for 3 days. And after that, where they go is going to be dependent on the resources in those areas. Well, they do the same thing. A veteran comes in and needs assistance right away.
Yeah.
The bad part is I used to always joke, it wasn't really a joke because it used to always happen to me, is I would have somebody show up in my office at 5:00 and it'd be like 0 out and they need help, and the VAC's already closed and Hebron was already closed. And it's like, crap. What are you going to do at 5:00 on a Friday night when all the resources are already closed and gone?
Yeah.
Wow.
I used to call Mike Iwanagi, tell him to break out the credit card, take him to Bob's Hotel.
Absolutely.
Give him a hotel for the weekend, and then
Bob's
Monday was
Hotel.
sort of
Well, Mike is going to hate this, but I gotta compliment you because you've been, you were part of the VAC when its initial startups, things like that. You've been working for Illinois Department of Employment Security, IDES, and you've networked. You've been a veteran activist or an advocate for years. You're one of the founders of the Marine Corps League, the veterans group that we belong to, and you've networked. You know everybody. You're connected, and it's not that all of a sudden he's just well connected. It's you've become a resource in your own right, and you've served a lot of veterans, hundreds of veterans that I know of in the county. Hats off to you, Mike.
Absolutely.
That's a
Victor's
compliment.
turn now.
And now back to
Him and
Victor.
Jason, I got to make sure I pass it on to the next generation.
Well, that's what you've been doing lately is pushing it off on the younger crew and so on. So, but hats off to you, Mike.
Usually I would read this off on a microphone for you guys, but you guys might want to read this.
Yeah, we got a little.
What are we looking at here? Land navigation competition sounds.
Yeah, it's
like
Rico. He's shout out Rico. He's one of our VSOs.
Rico Thrifts.
Hey, wait a minute. Was he 11 Bravo?
He was a MP,
And then
but
what does he know about land navigation?
Yeah, what is he know? He drives a car and
He
what
probably had
uh,
his Humvee had a GPS in it.
Rico was a military police officer.
he was a military police officer, but he knows his stuff, and he's very into the outdoor therapy and talk therapy, like you were mentioning earlier, isn't for everyone.
Rico,
So,
you know we're
yeah.
gonna give you a hard time, right? We know we're gonna give you a hard time, man.
But
Hey,
he knows
thanks
everything
for
you need to
accommodating.
know about outdoor therapy. So come see Rico. And
Walter,
We got
Walter's my brother-in-law, and he knows. He said he was going to do this, and
So he says, "Why is this guy wearing sunglasses inside?" I guess you got to tell him.
because he's cool.
Because I'm cool, and he knows that.
Oh, pink eye. Someone farted on his pillow. So.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
He just wish he had cool shades like yours.
I know. He lives in Kenosha, actually, so he's tuning in from Kenosha.
Oh, he's a cheesehead.
I know.
I left
Couldn't
my
get it
Ray-Bans
done.
in my car, so I should have popped them on too.
That's
That would've been awesome.
Would have been the Blues Brothers.
We should have all done that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I get the bright lights, mine get dark too.
Actually, I'm born and raised in Kenosha, and I moved down to Illinois. Back in 2003?
Oh, where were you at
family-
first?
That explains a lot.
I was in Canada.
You were in Canada.
Yeah.
Wow.
I lived outside of the U.S. for 27 years. Can you believe that?
All that
Wow.
poutine
Yeah.
out there, you know.
And
fries
let
and
'em back
gravy,
in.
All that
It was the poutine, which is French fries
brown
with
gravy.
the meat sauce, brown gravy, and some
Cheese curds.
Oh, cheese curds on top of it. That's what helped me.
Flushing?
That's what helped. That's what happened. That's what did it.
I do love
stayed
a
in
good
Canada. I
poutine.
said, I'm
though,
not
so-
moving away from this place. They don't make this good stuff down.
Well, they got cheese curds in Wisconsin there, so you know you're halfway there. So.
No, but I moved to Illinois, and my family they're still they're still in Wisconsin, and of course they disown me because now I am the resident flatlander, they call me,
Flatlander.
or fib,
Oh,
things like that.
effing Illinois.
Buggers.
Yeah,
Try not to swear online. So-
having the technical term, having a child out of wedlock or whatever. So,
Oh, wow.
Hey, those cheeseheads, they ought to be nice to people from Illinois because without them, they wouldn't have any economy.
Well, I tell them that. I say, hey, this is our playground. We come up here, we hunt and fish, and if it weren't for us, all of you guys would be on welfare. So then they escort me to the border. They kick me in the butt, and you go to Zion, pal. Get out of here. Oh my God! But yeah, awesome VAC. The
Yeah.
VAC is an awesome institution, awesome organization, provides assistance to a lot of veterans and so forth. What is it that you guys are doing to get the word out?
That's a great question because we need to do more. We're working on rebuilding our website, adding some widgets, and maybe even going with a third-party person though, because that's one of the ways that we could get the word out.
Yeah.
Social media, we're focusing on expanding that, just trying to reach. I've only got I think a little over 7,000 veterans in my claims management system at work, and a lot of those are surviving spouses that have passed away or even veterans who passed away. So I know that we're not reaching all 14,000. How are we going to do that? So hopefully we can, come together. We're holding a stakeholders meeting March 5th. I believe it's March 5th. I have to get to on the calendar for that. That's a tentative date. But we want to invite the community to hear what's needed in McHenry County, and specific to veterans, of course. But how can we fill that need?
Well, more importantly, instead of you, because one of the things Rick's finding out, got him recruited, and he's doing really well in Northeastern Illinois with the Marine Corps League. But the thing is, they can turn around and say, you need. It's like timeout. We don't mind putting things together, but what are you going to bring to the table to help that need? What they think, say in the veteran community, only 10% of the people are doing all the work.
Yeah.
What does it take to get all 100% on board?
Right.
And that'd be the thing to bring up at the stakeholders for those who show up. Because, the thing is that really frosted me is that it's election season. And let me get on my politics. And I used to get pissed when I was at unemployment. The only time that politicians want to see me and doing job fairs
I get it.
was election time.
Yeah.
So they come out there with all these Vietnam trinkets, and they bring people in and make it look like they're doing something for the vet. And it's like, okay, the little crap you're giving away is made in China, and you give them a certificate, but you don't come around the other 3 years, but election time you come around. So it's like pushing that stuff in there. It's like, say, how about all the time we got something going on?
Yeah.
Well, one thing about marketing is one suggestion: contact every single veterans organization in this county, and have them do what we do with the Marine Corps League. We actually have an agenda, and they go down there. Okay, Fishing Committee, we're at the Communications Committee, blah blah blah, VAC Committee, and the guy gets up and he talks about what the VAC is doing, and everybody that's there and everyone that communicated, it's in the minutes what the VAC is doing. I don't know if the VFW in McHenry is doing that, for example. So, and the PLAV and so on. So anyway, having said that, that's one start in terms
I think
of marketing.
well, they have a delegate to our that's on the commission that meets at the and I know in their meetings they have like a VAC portion that they talk about.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if they cover it there, but
Right on.
yeah, I get it. We need to get everyone at the table to see how we can reach the veterans.
And commit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going back to the AVA, and one of the things that Rick and I, since last summer, is the AVA is like telling people is that the difference between Marine Corps League and American Legion and VFW is that we get a board meeting and present it there. They all bob their head, yes, we're going to do it. Goes to the next general meeting and gets brought up and approved and goes. The old timers, they'll talk about something for a couple of years and still nothing happened. I fight with the state. At the state level, we had the same problem with our organization, is that we just recently started doing some formalized training where we reimbursed the people that showed up.
Right.
But they've been talking about it for over 20 years, and I was able to get funding to make that happen. Because, I'm tired of you guys running your mouth. Here's the money, put it together, and we only get about half the show.
Yeah, we don't talk, we do. And it's like the American Veteran Alliance. They've been talking about, hey, we need a home, we need a building, and so forth. You know what? We established an organization. We started that back last August. Right now we got a board. Right now we're raising money. We are going to have a building. Period.
Yeah.
That's a mission, and that's what we're going to do.
And it's a 501c3. We got all the stuff done.
Right.
One of past chairman, he used to get a lawyer. Okay,
Right.
How many years have you guys been getting a lawyer and still haven't gotten your C3 straightened out or whatever he was doing?
Right.
It's like it took me a couple months. It doesn't. You don't need a lawyer to get most of the stuff as long as you understand all the widgets that's involved.
Well, in the interest of saving some time here, because we're about done. We only
Yep,
got about 30 seconds to go.
Got to wrap it up.
What I'm going to do is recommend to everybody, contact your Veterans Assistance System, the VAC, the commission here. And you've got the URL, you've got the phone number and so forth. Contact them, and they can, you already know what their services are. You know what they do. And so utilize that service to the best of your advantage.
And as always, if you like what you hear, because we got to wrap it up here, hit the like, share, subscribe button on YouTube and hit the bell notification for future videos to see what's going on next. And it also helps out the algorithm. You can also follow us on Twitch, Twitter, Apple, Spotify. Did I get everything else? Okay. And we want to thank our producers, 216net, Drew Cappuccino over there.
And thank you to Victor for being here today. Awesome that you're here. Awesome interview. Thank you.
Yes,
Thanks
thanks
for
for having
having
us. It was a
me.
great interview.
Thanks for allowing me to
Our
be a
next
part of the
show-
conversation.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Our next show is going to be on February the 22nd. Be there. We're going to once again talk about issues that are of interest to veterans. This is what we do.
And if you're not a veterans group, sign up, find one, look for one, whatever you can do. And we're also looking for sponsors to keep this going on for our second year. I think Drew, the good looks ain't cutting it for, so just reach out to 216 and let them know that you want to be a sponsor.
Awesome. Thank you.